Whether this is Stieg Strand with Remax Results, I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about adverse possession, otherwise known as squatting. In Minnesota, it's just as easy to squat anywhere in the United States. But in Minnesota, we have more rules and they are more effective, and they are also tighter timeframes in the most important areas, such as a 5 day right to vacate, and then the actual eviction, unlawful detainer, things like that. Those usually are within a 5 and a 14 day period, and so they generally happen pretty quickly. Now, when it comes to other things such as adverse possession, which is when somebody is in the property for a long period of time, or possessing land for a long period of time, that takes 15 years in Minnesota. And by the way, that would be 15 years of notorious actual possession of the property. It's probably the easiest to think about it, for me anyway, as an abandoned house, somebody there for 15 years, and everybody knows it, and then they just kind of make it their own. Um, Back in time, the reason that all came about, by the way, was farmland, and people really did not want to waste farmland. And the larger the farm you had, the more successful and wealthy you were. So if there was farmland that could be used for farming, people wanted to do it. So basically, if some land wasn't being used for farming, no matter whose it was, they would just start farming it. And in Minnesota, you could actually get that land after 15 years of doing that exact same thing. Now, one other thing that is kind of forgotten in this whole adverse possession thing, and that is that whoever is occupying in Minnesota would need to be paying taxes on that land as well. So that makes it really a different situation than the squatter situation we deal with. So under most circumstances, unless the landlord has made some pretty bad decisions in negotiations, poor contracts, things of that nature, or maybe even accidentally, or because they felt sorry for the squatters, were accepting partial rent maybe for a period of time, or maybe they weren't even in the area. Maybe they were not in the state or near the home or near the apartment, and they weren't really know what was going on. Those are the situations where the squatters' rights can become a little bit more powerful, because there is some form of relationship and some form of acceptance by the owner of the property. So now I do have a link at the bottom of this video, because obviously this is just a general kind of a thumbnail discussion, and it is a link to the Minnesota Attorney General's office to give you all the information that you need. It is called the Minnesota Attorney General's Landlords and Tenants Rights and Responsibilities Handbook. And it's a 40, I don't even know, 70 or 80 page, actually, now that I think about it, handbook on being a good landlord and being a good tenant. And it also has some interesting information in there. So